should share this or not, but yeah, I will. So a couple of days ago, some time ago, I've done an inner dance facilitation session. So I had met somebody, and we get to know each other, and then there was like an interest about crystals, about energy, about feeling the energy of other people. It was like a topic that we discussed. And so I mentioned that I was doing like inner dance, and it's like a session where you work with energy. I didn't say too much. I just said it's music, put on the music, and then just energy flowing. And so on another day, I sent it to her. I was like, if you ever want to, yeah, you could just let me know, and we can meet up, or I can come to you. And so she said, yeah, you can come. And in the evening, like I really didn't think it was gonna happen, but I came. I set up my crystals. I started explained to her, just lie down. So it was in a hotel room, so she just lied on the bed, and it was in the like she was lying like wide over the bed, and it was a bit cold for her, so she was like covering herself up with the blanket. So as the session started, the music started, she was just like swirling like this and yawning a lot. And yeah, like sure, for me, like in my experience, that once the session started, I noticed like there was a lot of energy, there was a lot of inner movements happening, and yeah, it was just a flow, a dance. So once the session was over, I just used some Palo Santo to wake her up, and she was like smiling, and she hugged me, and she gave me a kiss. And then as I was setting up to leave, so I was putting my things away, she was looking at me, and I sat for a while, and she came sitting on top of me. She started to kiss me in the mouth, and I was looking at her. I'm like, we don't have to do anything. I can just leave. Just no, we don't have to do anything. And she's like, oh, you don't want to? And you know, there was this whole thing going in my head, like, should I, shouldn't I? Because I mean, obviously she was attracted. I was attracted to her, but like during the whole session, you know, when you're just working, when it's just happening, the energy just happening, you don't have those kind of let's say thoughts or ideas about like, wow, I'm so attracted, or I want something to happen. It's just like you just notice like, whoa, that's an attractive person. Yeah, you just notice that, and you notice your own inner reactions or impulses, but it's very subtle. So then what happened was she got up and she was like, if you don't want to, it's okay. And I laughed, and I was like, no, I want to, but like, do you want to? Do you really want to? And she was like, yeah, I think so. I'm like, no, like really, what do you feel in your heart? And she looked at me, and she was like, in your heart, do you want me to stay, or do you want me to go? Like, what do you feel? And she like, I kept repeating it, and she was like, yeah, I want you to stay. I want you to stay. And I was like, okay, I'll stay. So I put my things away, and she came to me, and she started to kiss me. She started to caress me, and we just kissed for a while. And yeah, I got undressed. She got undressed, and we climbed on the bed, and we were just like, yeah, caressing each other, exploring each other's bodies. It's so funny. um, yeah, it was really passionate. Like there was just this very passionate energy, and we were just like, yeah, like interwoven, and yeah, a lot of passionate kissing, a lot of like going back and forth. It was like there was a play happening. It was very innocent, very light, very yeah, very like together. It was together. It was not me having it with her or she having it with me. It was together. We're like cuddling up, and it was very very intimate. And then you know, she like at a certain point, because the way we were going to, I thought like we're not gonna use a condom, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, no, we're gonna use it, right? And she took one, and we had like proper like intercourse. And honestly, it's been quite a while since I've had such a passionate, involved connection with somebody. And it was not emotional. It was not like something that I wanted to get from her. It was just like, wow, I'm attracted to her. And there was like this like almost, you could say like two animals, or not two animals, but like two beings who are just open energetically, who would just come together and like they just give themselves. It was like a giving and taking. There was a sharing. And it was so beautiful, because it just made me feel so connected, so alive. And at a certain point, like she orgasmed, and I didn't. I could go on, but was still enjoying it, And then at a certain point, I was like, we switched. We switched a couple of times. We switched because it was like very, you know, both people are like clinging on to each other, and there's like a lot of snuggling, and you're feeling up to each other. You're kissing. You're almost like biting. It's like you want to dissolve the boundary of physicality. This like this intense sharing, or intense communion happening, of wanting to. And at a certain point, I also came, and we hugged, we smiled for a while, we talked, and it was so light. It was like over like this, and we said goodbyes. I went home, and there was no feeling like something had happened, or I did something, because I thought about it. I was like, is this ethical? Is this moral? All those kind of thoughts. But then I realized, like, I was just open in my heart, and she was open, and it just happened. And there's no like hook that's left. It's just it was complete. It was done, and it's like it's past. It passed. But I cannot like I'm starting to think, because previously I had also done a session with two women, and I noticed that one was like, maybe this is my projection, but I had this sense of like the way she was cuddling me, the way she was touching me, the way she was like looking at me. There was this sense of like I recognized it, like she was projecting onto me that I could mean something for her, or she could live somehow through me, or have some experience through me. And there was like this, I felt like a longing, or a desire, or like something like And I was so, honestly, I was so uncomfortable with it. Not in the sense that I was like, I don't want to feel like this. It was just like I realized like, oh, I appreciate this person. I care, like I care for this person, but I don't have that attraction. There's not that attraction. It's just like, I don't feel it. It's not mutual. So I realized like, oh, as a facilitator, this is like where the boundary is like, you have to stay almost in a role, or you have to maintain etiquette. Otherwise, if you don't do that, yeah, it's like it's very easy for something to happen, or for a story or an idea to like, whoa, we had a connection, we had a moment, or I feel this, I feel that. So for me, like from my previous experiences with like having a deep connection with a facilitator, or like having like projection on a facilitator, honestly, it happens unconsciously. It's like you have an experience, you go to this being, and you already have certain thoughts or certain impressions of that being, right? But then once you have like an energetic experience, or it's nice, or you went deep, or whatever, you also have like this projection of like, you did this for me, or with you this happened, right? So for me in the past, I know there were like sometimes like these unconscious projections happening of like hoping that with you, through you, something could be lived out, something could be better in my life because of you. And it's very subtle, but in that moment I noticed like, this is how a facilitator feels like, when maybe I had like those impulses, or when I see other people have that, like this affinity, this longing to connect on a certain level. It's like, this is how it is. So I'm not making any rules about it. Like, I talked to my friend about it, and it's like, you don't want to like become somebody with that people know that, oh, when he facilitates and he can have a connection with women and things can happen. Honestly, where I am right now, right, from my subjective relative experience, I think there's no issue in it if you're not trying to use the person, or if you're not causing like creating a story, or you're not chasing it, or there's no attachment to it, in a sense like you feel a craving, a need. I need this to happen to feel okay. I need this to happen to feel good, to feel happy, to feel ease, to relieve myself. Like if you're coming from that, I think that's something to investigate, something to be aware of. But if it's very spontaneous, and if it's just arising, like you can also have resistance, and then you can also inquire like, what is this resistance about? Because if you go into it, it's either a resistance, like with me, a resistance to be vulnerable, to connect, to show up, to a fear that if I do this, like I'm committing to something. So there's like, it's very subtle. So look, how do you not go to here, not go to here, so not push or not pull, but you just stay open. You just stay in this spaciousness where things can come, and they can go. Yeah. So for me, it's like, it's just about being aware and noticing, like, if there's this spaciousness and things start to occur, things start to happen, is there resistance or is there attachment to it? If there's neither, it can just happen the way it flows, the way life expresses itself, the way my life expresses itself, the way the other being's life expresses itself. It's just happening. It doesn't have to mean anything. It doesn't have to be moral, ethic. It's just happening. And I think like having like very clear communication is important. To communicate where you're coming from, what you feel, and to also like I felt that before that person, like what I was like nothing has to happen, right? I can just go. It's like, do you really want this? Do you want this in your heart? Feel in your heart, do you really want this? Or do you think that you want it? Like I asked it a couple of times and she didn't like get it at the first time. And then it was like, I kept asking like, feel in your heart, do you want me to stay or do you want me to go? Like feel it here. So I think if it's just happening, it can be, yeah, it's nothing special actually. That's the thing, it's nothing special. It's just spontaneous, like lightning hitting, or the wind blowing, or anything really. It's a very spontaneous thing. Like there's attraction, there's no boundary or resistance, or nothing's holding you back. Why not? Of course, if you have like boundaries, if you have, if you have a certain kind of life circumstance where you have a partner, you're committed, or the other person's committed, it's like you have to talk about these things. It's like, what do you want out of this? Or, yeah, like for me, like I'm not planning on making this a habitual thing. I'm not planning on doing this regularly, but I wonder how this will evolve or develop over time. And honestly, if you're looking at this and you're seeing something unconscious in me, or you see some spots or some position that I have right now that you think is ignorant, you can tell me. I'm open to that. You can tell me, because I can only see what I can see, and if I don't see, I don't see. So, yeah. I do remember when I had sometimes really intense sessions, really like amazing deep sessions, and I could open my eyes. Like with me, when I could come out of a session, my eyes go open so fast. It's like, it's done. Okay, it's like, because I don't know why, because I've done it so many times, or because I'm used to it and it doesn't take me that long to go in and out. I don't know, but I remember like opening my eyes and I see the facilitator like beside me or like over me, and she's like looking at me, and I'm just this smile, and there's like this deep fullness inside, like, thank you so much, and with this warmth of it, or this like fulfillment, or no, not fulfillment, but like the enthusiasm of like, oh yes, that was so much fun, that was so deep, so and then like just smile, you just smile, and then sometimes like she would come to me and she would hug me, or she would like even I remember one time she would come over me, she would hug me, she would lie on me, and there was this sense of like, this is so like there was this inside, I felt it like, oh, like my body wants to merge with this body. It's like, but nothing happened, right? But there was this I noticed it. It's very subtle. Yeah. I wonder how this will develop. I'm open to any feedback if anybody has any like experience with this, but yeah, I wasn't sure about sharing this, honestly. I thought maybe this is like immoral or unethical, but these things happen. Like, you only know what you know, right? And you are what you are. So